Thank you, Senator Cotton. Senator Hirono, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start by asking all of the nominees the following two initial questions, and I would like a verbal response from you on these questions. Since you became a legal adult, have any of you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No.
No.
Have any of you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No.
No.
A number of my concerns have been touched upon by other members of this committee, so I'll go over some of these very quickly. Dr. Carlin, both Senator Shaheen and Senator Blumenthal have expressed their concerns, which I share, about what will happen to Afghan women and girls after we leave. So I just want you to know that I share this concern, and my expectation is that you will be focused on what you can do to support the women and girls. In particular, a number of us sent a letter to the president asking him to quickly appoint an ambassador at large for global women's issues as a point person for the administration on these issues. So with regard to Afghan women and girls, and I would expect that you would be working with that person.
Thank you, Senator, for raising this important issue along with your colleagues. If confirmed, I would absolutely commit to the women, peace, and security work that we've seen is playing such an important role globally.
For Mr. Del Toro, you've been asked a number of questions about the importance of the modernization of the shipyards, and these are issues that Senator Shaheen and I always bring up at these hearings. I would like your commitment also to really focus on what we can do to reduce the significant cost overruns that we are experiencing with the new dry dock construction that's happening at Portsmouth, because the next dry dock on the agenda for the Navy is the one at Pearl Harbor. So I would like to reiterate my concern, along with that of my other senators, that you will be very focused on what we need to do to proceed with these matters.
Senator, I had the good fortune of building one of our Navy's newest destroyers and lived in a shipyard practically for a year and a half while she was being built, and having first-hand experience with dry docks and shipbuilding. And I want to applaud you and the other senators on this committee for your commitment to our shipyard capacity and building industry. It's incredibly important to our national security. It's incredibly important to our economic security for the nation as well, too. And I know that the Navy has a SIAP plan to invest in our shipyards, $20 billion over the next 20 years. I know that there's legislation before the Congress to try to include additional monies for the shipbuilding industry as part of the infrastructure plan. I applaud all those efforts, and I fully commit to you that if confirmed as Secretary of the Navy, that I will look into this particular issue with regards to cost overruns and do everything that I possibly can to correct the situation and put it back on track.
I think timing of the building of the dry dock in Hawaii is very critical, and we can't afford to have huge cost overruns and delays. I appreciate your reiteration of paying attention to these areas. For you, again, Mr. Del Toro, the Indo-Pacific Area of Operations, just huge AOR, includes many island nations such as Palau, Micronesia, Samoa, Marshall Islands, etc. Do you agree that our continued collaboration with these countries plays a vital role to our national security?
It absolutely plays a vital role to our national security and becomes increasingly more important as we face the growing threat of China in the Indo-Pacific. Logistics becomes incredibly important. We have to advance our platforms and our troops as much as possible. Collaborating with all these countries and islands is incredibly important. And I look forward to, if confirmed, to be able to strengthen our maritime diplomatic strategy in the Indo-Pacific and work with all these communities.
I will be very interested in what you will do to strengthen these relationships with these island nations, because I think we have an ongoing commitment to these island nations. We could do more to help them with their economy, just to strengthen their positions in the Indo-Pacific area, especially with China's whole of government approach to these island nations. again, for you, Mr. Del Toro, it's concerning to me that over a year has passed since the investigation into the fire on the USS Bonhomme Richard occurred. And this was a 4-day fire, and it destroyed a $4 billion amphibious warship at a time when we can ill afford to lose any of our ships. So I would ask that you focus on what is taking so long in this investigation. It's been over a year. That's somewhat unusual in these circumstances, and I would like to hear from you as to, of course, after you are confirmed, as to what is happening with this investigation.
Senator, if confirmed, I commit to looking into the issues with regards to the timing of these investigations and, more importantly, looking into the substance of what occurred.
Also, I note that there is a huge range of numbers in terms of the number of ships that we will eventually have. And I note that there is, in the 2018 NDAA, we're talking about a 355-ship Navy. And then I've seen ranges going from 398 ships to 512 ships. How can we even proceed with these kinds of numbers being tossed out? So I would be very interested in talking with you further, once confirmed, of course, as to whether we can get more accurate numbers about our shipbuilding schedule. Just one more thing for Mr. Connors. The Army Corps of Engineers has a huge role in Hawaii, particularly with regard to the upcoming the renewal of the leases for training ranges in the state. And without these training ranges, it will be very difficult for the military, particularly the Army and the Marine Corps, to stay in Hawaii as far as I'm concerned. So I would invite you to come to Hawaii and to be able to recognize how important it is as we go forward with these renewal of leases, that the community is very much kept abreast of what we plan to do. So I would welcome your coming to Hawaii for that purpose. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hirono.